Hello, hello. It's Amy from Seriously Sweet and Cookie Snack Attack. Hi, Jessie. How are you? I'm so excited you're with us tonight. Doing great. How about you?
I am doing wonderful.
Storm I know. Thank goodness. Did you have any flooding?
Well, everything. We have a lake, big lake in behind us, so it's up over the grass. But we had a lot of water, yes. And then northern Florida is very flooded. Yes.
Yes. How do you do when your lake floods? Do alligators come up? Do you have any gators back there?
We do have gators, but they have some sort of mechanical thing that drains it out. But you know, we're up high enough that it's up on the grass, but it won't last long. As soon as the sun comes out here in Southwest Florida, it dehydrates everything. So
yes.
It dries up very quickly, and the streets have dried up. And the puddling and the places where it did flood, it's all.
So you know, I lived in Florida about 8 years, right? My first experience with a gator being close to my house was coming home one night from the place where we had our stores in a mall, a waterfront mall. And I had a little convertible VW Bug that sat so low to the ground. And I came around a blind corner and it was mating season. And this 10-foot massive gator was blocking my lane of the road. Luckily, I got stopped in time because if I had hit it, I would have flipped my car. The thing was at least 14 to 16 inches off the ground. It was massive. And I was like, is it time to move? And my husband said it's mating season for them. And we kind of live where what used to be their property. So go home the other way. Luckily, I never had one at the house, though.
Yes. Well, we can have them in the lake. Yes. But it's kind of, you know, we have a lot of ducks. We have all different birds. We have a white room at the back that's closed in, and it's very visual. It's inspiring. You know, you can get a lot of inspiration, and you know me.
Have you been seeing all my Blue Ridge backyard reels?
Yes,
all the little families that have moved in since we bought the old house. So
yes.
Yeah, I've named almost all the critters now, and they're all pretty much named after people that have been at the retreats. So we have to get you at a retreat, you and Dave, because I have a couple picked out for you next year.
Okay. Well, we're planning to come to your retreat. We were planning to be there this year, but things didn't work out so well.
Well, that's okay. It's going to work out for next year and be even better. We're going to have a little more experience under our belt with the timed event and the judging. So wait until you see what I already have planned.
We could do a showpiece for you if you'd like.
Yes, amen. All right. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to just turn this over to Jessie Ann. I'm so excited that you're here because I'm not set up to where. I'm sorry.
I have to ask you a question.
Oh, I'm ready. What's the question?
You signed up for the TV show.
I saw that. I don't know which one it is, though. Do you know which one it is?
It's a private TV show. It's going to come.
Yeah, it says a news show. I've been doing my best to track down information on it. So if anybody has the skinny, you have to let us know who that is. It was in the CookieCon attendee group, right?
Do you want me to get it for you?
No, it's okay. I know where it's at. I've been looking. I've been trying to see who it is.
Supposed to be signing up. Let's go as a group.
Yeah, I know. Why don't they ever contact me and say, "Hey, Amy, can we put together a whole cookie snack attack episode?" And I would be like, "Boom! I have 10 people right now that would go. Let's have 5 groups, teams of 2, and let's do it." So call me.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So if you are ready to go, I wanted to tell everyone I'm super excited that Jessie Ann's with us tonight because I don't have the right kind of setup in my kitchen right now for filming in the new old house, the new old house. Well, that's what we're calling it, right? The kitchen's not remodeled yet, so it's not safe to film in there and do this stuff. And I really want you to see what I was talking about a few weeks ago with the differences with the wafer paper and the spring wrap, the rice paper. Jessie Ann said she would demo that, so you guys are going to get like primo instruction tonight on these. Hope you guys will try it. But our mutual disclaimer is that neither we nor our businesses are responsible for anything that occurs at your house. And my recommendation is if you know you're not good at using boiling hot water or boiling oil, to use a barbecue grill with a side burner outside on the gravel with the fire extinguisher present, but it's all on you. So make that decision and then start playing. Are you ready?
Outside is good. I'm ready.
Outside is good. On gravel's even better.
Gravel and pavement. Yeah.
So you saw my experiment with the Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey that you recommended, right?
For sure.
I've got a fantastic flame. It reduced down and made the most wonderful flavor for some homemade caramel sauce. It was so great because as soon as it started flaming, the smell was very intense. And I live in Virginia, and I happen to live in an area of Virginia where there are lots of wineries, distilleries, things of that nature. So there's oak barrels. 20 years ago, we could go yard sailing and pick up an oak barrel that had been used previously for like 10 or 20 bucks. Mm-hmm. Brian would take them and cut them right through the middle, make me 2 flower bed urn type things. I did above ground gardening in them, but the smell is so intense. You never forget it. I haven't had one of those in a long time. And when I lit that whiskey up and the flame went and it started to reduce, it smelled just like those aged oak barrels.
Yes.
It was red.
In Kentucky, they call that slush.
Oh yes. Yeah. So
water, let them soak. It is dangerous though. Don't anybody.
Yeah. It worked, and I was pretty excited that it worked because it gave me an idea for something else I want to film, but I'm not quite ready to film it yet. So, okay. But the practice was primo. Thank you. It was the perfect recommendation on what to use too. It worked great.
And I want to mention also that if people get that they're, and which I'm not saying anybody will, it's just that I do just FaceTime. Just FaceTime. Just call me.
Yeah.
And we're doing FaceTime, and I instruct you. I do that with Donald Joyner, do that with this person, that person. So if you're stuck on something and you're just experimenting and doing that type of thing, and you just want to call me, and we set up a time, and I just do it right in front of you, and we do it together.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, guys, because it's really fun to have her in your corner cheering you on, going, try it, try it. All right, let's see. I want to see if I can give you the whole screen for the demo. I'll still be here, and I think you'll be able to hear me. But I want to see if I can give you the whole screen. So we're going to try that real quick, okay?
Okay, that's good.
Now, if for some reason you don't hear me speaking and you only see yourself, just keep going until I get back in the stream, okay?
I just keep going. Thank you.
Hold on one sec. We're going to see if this works. All right, hold on. I'm going to try to do the whole thing.
Oh,
can you still hear me?
I can still hear you very well.
Oh, good. But we have full screen for you. So it is all yours. And if you need me to do anything, let me know.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me this evening. My name is Jessie Ann Reilly. I'm the owner and chef of Ttt Cake Decor down here in Southwest Florida, in Naples, Florida. And we're going to play tonight. So I do apologize for one thing. I can't see anybody that's on. So hi to everybody. My husband Dave.
I'm going to put some comments up for you, and I'll read you questions. Okay.
Oh, I see the little things that you put up there.
Okay. Let's definitely. Oh, look, Myra's in a Walmart right now where there's tornado warning, so yes, she's hunkered down. Wow, you be safe. She's in Myra. Are you in Ohio? I think she lives in Ohio.
Yeah, it can happen right now at this time of year up there. So tonight I wanted to show you a few things before we start with wafer paper flowers. And I make them, and I have demoed this for Icing Images, and the wafer that I use comes from Icing Images, and you can just go online and find that. And here's one that I have made. And how they go on is whatever a lot of people ask, how do you attach that? You can just take a little bit of water. I'm going to demo this for you, but they come in all different colors. Here's one that's actually I have a bag full of them. So, and
those are beautiful.
It's light as a petal, and you can make them small and do a 3D on a cookie, or you make a big cookie. And what I really like about wafer, it's very botanical fantasy. And what I've noticed in the cookie world, how it becomes a setting, and one part matches the other part, and how you can do just a whole collage of all different cookies and textures. And wafer is one of the main ones because you can put it in there and create leaves, flowers, moss, grass, stems.
Do you have a preference on the thickness of wafer paper for the demo you're going to do?
I use the thinnest one.
Okay.
Always. And the other, when I go any thicker, I use a Smart Sheet, which is from Icing Images. Okay. I don't use the cardstock at all. So tonight, the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to put you down in a few minutes to, you can visually then see my induction burner. And we're going to make lace to begin with. Okay. So what the formula for lace is 6 grams of wafer, which is basically one sheet. Okay. And then if you're using your scraps, like scraps left over from cutting leaves or whatever, save them all, because what I use is I use a coffee grinder. I like the coffee grinder the best, or else
me too.
a smoothie grinder, but the coffee grinder, I don't use the larger equipment because it doesn't bring it down soft enough.
I have a small one like that, and it makes the best snow.
It makes great snow. It makes great covering also for textures on isomalt. You could roll the hot isomalt or the sticky isomalt as you're blowing it or texturing it, and put textures on like lemons and like the fur on top of a peach, something like that.
Okay, that's a great idea.
And you can also make your own sprinkles out of it. You just put it into a package and put in your color and shake it all around. And then you don't have to buy the ones on the marketplace. So this mixture here is what we call the wafer smoothie. And what I did was I ground it in my coffee grinder, and then I put it into my emulsion. So it's 100 ml of water to 6 grams. Now, lots of times I alter that. Sometimes I might want it a little thicker. Sometimes I might want it a little thinner. But I just got that off.
I'm typing it in for everybody. You said 100 milliliters of water with 6 grams finely ground wafer paper, which is approximately 1 sheet, right?
Yes, it's approximately 1 sheet. And if you don't want to weigh it, just take a sheet, grind it up.
Okay, but a thin sheet, not the double density.
No, it's not double density.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn, when I turn on the induction burner, you're going to find that it makes a little bit of noise.
Okay.
So if you're having problems, just tell me that you can hear it. And so what I'm going to set this at, and you can set your stove at, is between 6 and 7 is the heat. Okay, so first you've got it on high, a little higher heat, and then once it starts spreading around, it starts bubbling, and you smooth it out, you'll see that I drop the temperature down to low. So it dehydrates. And here's a few pieces.
I can't wait to see if this is like the toil or twill that we made at retreat.
Okay, so
that's beautiful. It's very flexible.
Yes, in the beginning when you first take it off the burner, it's not. You just set it aside and let it dry and flex. You make them into flowers, and then also when you're doing your mixture, you can also put in. Can you see the little sparkles?
Yes, that's so pretty.
Luster dust, and I use a lot of it for moss and showpiecing. And you see how I can fold this up now. And I can make a really
so when can you fold it up? After it sits and rehydrates a little?
It sit for about 5 minutes or so after you take it off the burner. I'm going to show you that. And
I wanted to say a huge thank you for sponsoring our creativity table at the retreat. You and Sydney from Simi Cakes sponsored that table, and you sent some of the most beautiful lusters that came from Amazon. I can put that link up again for you guys later, but they were absolutely perfect for the under the sea theme. They were just gorgeous.
And they work really well.
Oh yeah, a little went a long way. We still have we had close to 20 people using them, and we still have over half a jar of each. So quite really nice.
So I'm just cleaning this off over here. It's not
okay.
And then I'm going to have this little brush. You don't have to use this little brush. You can use the spatula. So I'm going to heat this up. Induction won't work until I turn it on. So I'm going to get that up to the 5 on this. Inductions are faster and heat more. So I'm just going to turn you down. I don't want to make you a little sick here.
Okay. And to those of you joining us on Instagram, thank you so much. I'm trying to keep up with your comments as well. I can't post them they don't pop up automatically, but if I see anybody asking questions, I'll pass that along to Jessie Ann.
So I'm just going to give this just a little stir. And if it isn't thick enough for you when you first try it, and if you've tried it before, I recommend that you just put a little more of your snow in there and just let it hydrate and you'll have it. Now, sometimes, like with Dave, when Dave was on with Icing Images, and we were doing this cooking of the wafer paper, which I'm going to do that for you too, the frying of the petals. We splattered a little water in here so we knew what the heat was. I wouldn't recommend that because it can spit you in the face. So just don't do that. So what we're going to do here, every time I lift this off, it's going to cut itself off. So that's what's so gracious about these. I've got another one out in the studio in the garage. My garage is a studio. So this is what it looks like. It's like a smoothie. And there seems to be heat there. I'm just going to take a regular tablespoon, kitchen tablespoon, and I'm going to spoon 2 of those to that. Set it aside. And I do want to do some green. So I'm just going to spread this around. You can lift it up and do it like you're doing a crepe. But if I take it off,
you get the bubbles just like a pancake, don't you?
Yes, you do. You just definitely do. And so I'm going to drop the heat down a little bit now. As soon as I get this all spread around here.
And the only thing that's in here is 100 milliliters of water with 6 grams of finely ground wafer paper, which is approximately 1 sheet of the regular thickness wafer paper, finely ground.
That's right. So what we're doing now is, I don't know whether you can see that on camera. You see the steam coming off it?
Yes, you can see it.
Yeah, we're just taking all the hydration out of it. Now, if you notice, there's still a lot of wet left in it. Can't go too close or I'll burn my camera, but you see?
Yes.
How shiny it is on the top. So you got to give yourself a few minutes afterwards to dehydrate it. Also, what I have done is I've just flipped it over if it comes off. And it is a non-stick pan. So a lot of the artists, they just use whatever pan they've got that they use for it all the time. And that's what I use these for. I just use them for wafer paper, these pans, and induction briquette, and for sugar. So I have certain pans for the stove and certain pans for working with this. Now, you can see it rising off the sides of the pan. You probably can't, but that's okay. So I just go around it on the edge just like that, and you'll see that it's moving.
Oh, wow. Yes. Do we flip it over like a fried egg?
Because there's a little dampness there. And oftentimes, just time-wise, you don't have to flip it over, but I'm just going to mix it around there and flip it over. So when you take it off, you just set it on a clean spot in front of you. And then after a few minutes, you're going to be able to flex it. It becomes flexible. And this time I'm going to make some, I'm going to add some, I only use airbrush.
Okay.
Anybody needs any airbrush paints, I've got boxes of them out there. Not little, but this is from doing sugar. So I'm just going to take this and put a couple drops in here. And yeah, it's water-based because I like it to be. I also use the dry colors. So I am actually doing a showpiece. So that's why I'm dyeing this green.
Okay.
Because
I can't wait to see what you use it on.
Well, we will down the road. I can't show it because.
Well, Sharita's going to use this technique for her upcoming Frozen themed cake.
Yes, and
that'd be beautiful.
What I wanted to tell you. It looks very good on cookies. I'm just going to clean this off, and you can make it look like it's like you put your royal icing onto your cookie or your large cookie, and then place a blue one over top of it, and it looks like water. And you can use it for all different showpieces on cookies. And so we're going to put 2 of these in here.
How long will it stay flexible? Like if we finish the demo and everything's cool and you were to pop those sheets into a Ziploc bag or an airtight container of some sort, will it stay flexible?
Yes.
Okay.
Those sheets that I showed you were done probably, some of them, the white ones were probably 8 months ago.
Wow.
And I put them, it's just like the flowers that I showed you. I have a bag full of them because I demo. And so I just, during the demo, I'm thinking, okay, boo, boo, boo. I'm going to do this other project or contest or something, or somebody's got a cake order. I do that while I'm doing the demo with the products in the demo, like I am right now. I'm doing moss. And this would go into the project that I'm going to do before the end of October.
Okay. Hey,
so
Nadine.
Yes, it keeps very well.
One of our Canadian buddies joined us.
Hi, Canadian. That's Nadine.
Miss Nadine is here. So you're not even really being very gentle with that as you're moving it around, are you?
I'm, it's just in the beginning when you're first, if you've never done it before, you kind of go, what is it doing? It looks kind of weird because you have to kind of spread it around. Oh, it's really not covering the pan, but it really is.
Okay.
You see, I've turned the heat down in this. It's not as high as it was, but
look at how beautiful.
And then while it's sitting there, if I wanted to, I could put all the sprinkles on it, or I can just put it sparkles in the mixture that I'm doing, or I put luster in the mixture, and it brings it up. So that's for that. That's our moss, or our flowers, or it can be waves on a lake. You can just lay it over top of your royal icing and just put some of it down. You can cut it into shapes and make flowers, or you can bunch it up and it can be a flower on the side of a cookie, and you can cut it as small as you want.
Do you need to seal it with confectioner's glaze spray?
No, I don't seal it. It just comes the way it is. And
okay.
It's very forgiving.
Yeah, Debbie says very cool, but you guys, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking fall and Halloween. I see so many great things about this.
It works really great.
Do you remember that the character that you did for us last year? You did that beautiful witch in the witch's hat, I think, and isomalt for us.
She's still out there.
Did you do her dress out of this?
I did her dress out of a cello sheet.
Okay. That's right. It was the cello sheets.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Then fold it up again and keep on folding it. See what I'm doing here? And then if you wanted to make like a very rustic two-sided bow, or all kinds of things you can make out of that. So now I want to go on to...
And Debbie says all bunched up, it would look like cotton candy, maybe.
In a way, yes. You can make it even thinner. Put a little more water in it, and it becomes holy. I want to put a phrase on it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a little container, frying pan over here with some water in it.
Okay.
Okay, and I have cut some shapes. Different size shapes of wafer, larger, intermediate, and tiny. And I'm going to cut one of them for you right now.
Okay.
And I'm just doing it with no real fashion. Okay. Just going around here just like this. And if you want to tear it, you can tear it.
And we're still using thin wafer paper.
Yes, it's all the same wafer paper. There's one shiny side and there's one dull side. For that, it doesn't really matter. But when I do this, I'm going to let it curl up and save your scraps because they go. So that's just at random, organic.
Okay.
You can, I can show you another time when we're on live how you can just perforate it with water and your cookie cutter. You just dip it in water. You have a pad of your paper towel. You set your wafer on there, and after you dip that in water, you just hit it wait a second or two, take that away, and then you just pull the sides off, and you've got this shape. That's kind of a quick one. So
another great pro tip there, guys.
So I just turned the heat to a 5 on this, and so this would be like a medium heat that you would have. If you leave it too high a heat, you can get this little marking. See?
Oh, beautiful.
So you've gone too far.
Okay, that where you have the dark spots.
Yes.
Is that what you're about to make?
Right. If that happens to you, you can cover that up by putting another petal on top. So we're just going to take a few of these and we're going to fry it. And I'll show you how you put it into a flour. So you can see my water is over here. I'm going to do the shiny side up. That seemed to be Dave's favorite when he did it. And then the other side down. So I'm just going to dip it, drop it.
Oh my goodness. I have not done this before. I can't wait to try this. If you're just joining us, this is Jessie Ann Reilly, and she's demoing wafer paper and rice paper this evening and going mad scientist on us, showing us all kinds of things that you can do. Look at it bubbling up like that.
Yes, and it'll fold more.
Look at that beautiful edge. It almost looks like a leaf to a rose.
It can, yes. Yeah. You can make them into roses. But a lot of people ask me, well, what do you use to glue it? Well, you can put a wire on it, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But if you're doing this, you're going to notice that I dropped it in there and I pulled it up. So there's more water on this side than there is on that side. So I don't want it to burn, so I'm going to turn it over for a minute so it'll dehydrate that top part. And that can happen to you, though. That's why it's really important to have...
Don't be like Jessie Ann. Use the tongs.
That's right. So this didn't set up and it didn't curl. So I'm just going to take that off of there.
Okay.
And that's
Fabiola.
I had a lot of water on that end.
Okay.
But if I leave it, I just turn that around and
let it have a little heat.
You are supposed to use tongs. You're not like me. I play with fire, so.
Well, you've done sugar work for most of your career, so I imagine your hands are not as sensitive to heat as newer sugar artists or cookie artists, right?
I usually put the gloves on so I can cover up my old hands, but I don't wear gloves. No.
And you mean your experienced hands?
Experienced hands, yes.
That's right.
Okay, we're gonna do another one, and this time when I dip it, I'm going to kind of swipe it across the
paper towel.
Paper towel because I don't want as much water on it.
And this is on a medium heat, right? For those just joining us. Oh, look at that, you guys. It's like Shrinky Dinks.
Shrinky Dink. Woo!
Look at that.
And if you wanted to shrink even faster, you can turn up the heat. But the reason I'm saying, turn up the heat.
Look at that. I had no idea it did that.
Yeah, it's very popular and very.
So, what's the thing you use this technique for the most?
Flowers.
Flowers. Okay. Do you to make individual petals?
Yes.
Hi, Dee Dee. Thank you for joining. Look at that, and it's still just shrinking. I can see it just minutely shrinking at this point.
Yeah. So you see.
Oh, look.
But the problem with that is if you leave it too long, and I've got my heat up just a little too high, so I'm going to bring it down because you'll end up with brown speckles on.
Okay.
And
could you cut these in triangles and make Dorito chips or something with them? Would they look like restaurant chips?
Yes, you can do all different food demo.
Oh, wow.
Everything you can think of, you can do it with wafer.
Hmm.
So I just turned the heat down a little bit because it needs to, it needs its time. And I'm going to switch sides the next time. I'm not going to put the rough side down.
Okay.
Put this smooth side down and see if there's any difference.
Okay.
In how it shrinks.
I saw someone do a demo at SoFlo of lettuce leaves. I don't remember who it was, but they made very realistic romaine lettuce leaves. Is it possible they were using this technique?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember that demo.
I can see Sharita says Dorito is a cool idea. I was thinking like restaurant chips, especially if you had it cut in triangles and they burnt a little bit, and then you could just airbrush your color.
Yes.
Right, for your chip?
Well, I just said any color that you want on these, you just spray it afterwards or airbrush.
Well, we're only 2 techniques in, Janie, so you caught us just in time tonight. We went a little bit earlier tonight than normal.
You gotta watch your fingers don't stick like that happened.
Oh.
I didn't wipe my fingers off. That's the other thing is before you when you touch wafer, your hands have to dry. So I have a little towel here.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's wafer. You can get so many petals out of a sheet of wafer paper that it's crazy. There we go. So that's now I put the shiny side down this time.
So it seems like it's shrinking faster and smaller.
It's going more ripply on the side. So when you're doing this, you have to experiment with it. And also, see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As long as
when they come out of the pan, they're really stiff though, right? So it's not like you can lay them over something curved and form them, can you?
You don't need to form them.
It could come out like that. They look like beautiful peonies petals.
Yes, peonies. It's just an auto. And what I recommend for everybody is that you experiment with it first before you're going to use it on your piece. Like practice, because all the pieces are organic. So therefore you can make them into anything you want. You put a little glue on the tip of them and they can all stand up and be a flower.
Oh, I have an idea for something I'm working on right now that you've shown me this. And Miss Janie, she's working with the thinner wafer paper right now. The first 2 demos that she did have been with wafer paper, techniques that she demoed.
So the other thing is that you can cut them in this is rice paper. But you can cut the wafer into these this shape and make a bottom piece of wafer, and you end up with a beautiful flower. They shrink up, but your whole lot of petals all on one.
It's beautiful.
We're going to fry this up in oil, but I wanted to get finished with the wafer before we go to the oil.
So if you saw the paper that Jessie Ann just showed you, that is rice paper, or the circles or squares they make spring rolls with, and it always has like that diamond plate pattern in it, which totally disappears when you get that wet. So we've been doing a lot of things recently with that so that you guys could see.
So I'm going to use another size here to make smaller ones so that I'm going to make a flower for you. So I'm just dipping that in the water, dropping it, and you see how that's shrinking up. And I didn't keep track of what side was what. But what I notice, and you will notice also, that in how you dip it, there could be accumulation of water on one side of it. Okay. And so I like to turn them over. And because I use most of them for petals and for flowers, but you can use them for anything. They can be a leaf, depending on what color you're using. So as long as it's in the heat and you turn it down a little bit, it won't get any of the polka dot brown spots of burning.
Okay.
It will dehydrate properly. So we're going to drop another one in there with another lower heat, and you
Just
see the
look
difference.
how fast.
Yeah,
That's
and this
crazy.
Curled up that is.
Yes, I love it. This is a fabulous. Use your tongs, Jessie Ann. That's just really amazing.
Get it in the camera.
Yeah, we can see it. That's wonderful. And it's not hot to the touch, I guess.
No, it's
Oh,
not
wow.
hot to the touch at all. You can just bring it up. And if you have some wet spots on it, just turn it over.
Okay.
It's just like making crepes and frying. So
wow.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera over here in a minute. Anybody else need to see me fry anymore? I've got a lot.
No, this was great. I have some fabulous ideas for something I'm working on.
Yeah. So see how that shaped itself?
Yes, it's beautiful.
It just forms into a really nice petal. Or
Jessie Ann, can you take over for just a second? I'll be right back.
I can.
Okay, thank you.
So the next thing that we're going to be working on, I'm going to fry some rice paper. And I just have to move the water out of the way because we're going to work with oil. We don't want to use the same pan right now because it's got to cool off. That's just this, BB. So if I have any water left on here, I just wipe this off because induction just takes itself down. So off the burner, I'm going to add, and what I use for this is canola oil. Canola or vegetable oil. It doesn't smoke and burn as much. You don't want to, I don't use any nut oils or olive oil. So I usually use canola, and it doesn't have to be an expensive one, and or vegetable oil. So what I'm going to do with this.
I'm back.
Hi.
Hey, sorry about that. That was good news. I'll fill you in later.
That's good. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just waiting for this pan to cool a little bit. And
Jessie Ann, did you see this that that Janie is asking if it's still edible once it's shrunk, or is it too hard?
Oh no, it's edible. I'll show you.
Okay. Hi Lavelle, we're glad you didn't miss us. We started at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, so this is off right now, and I'm going to move the camera over here a little bit, and I'm going to answer your question. Can you see that space right there?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So you have to remove your wafer paper from anywhere that there might be water droplets.
Okay.
You don't want it all ruined and stuck together. So we're going to set it back here.
When you make a bunch of extra petals like the ones that you just made, you make the 3 graduated sizes, right? So that you start small, go medium, and go larger on the outside edges. Like you don't just make one petal size, right?
No, I make all different sizes. Okay. Little ones, teeny ones.
Do you airbrush these or dry dust these? What's your preference?
Well, I paint the edges on some of them in a darker color, whatever I'm going to be using it for, but I airbrush them. Or else I put the color right into the smoothie like I did. Okay. And then also I make a center for it. I'm going to show you that. Just one second.
They actually just look like little chips, Janie. They look super thin.
Yes. So I'm going to take one right now. You see, I can flex this one. We just and this just might be a little gross, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You know, I was wondering if we could flavor these with some ginger so they'd qualify on gingerbread. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
whatever flavor you want. You just put it in there. Don't use oil in it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
You can use, yeah, Dave says salt and pepper.
Okay.
Okay, so what we have is we have some that right here. These are two that I stuck together, and all I did was put a little bit of water on my, I'm using my finger, but you can use a brush. So you just need a little bit of water, very tiny, tiny, tiny amount, not too much, because you rehydrate it. And I just touched it there. And then I might want to take another little friend, just hydrate it a little bit.
And she's just a little tiny bit of water, you guys, and then she's continuing on with it.
Together,
wow.
and it will stick.
Okay.
Well, it's supposed to.
Kelly is asking, she just got here, do you have to use a hot plate and a nonstick pan? Could you do it on a regular electric stove top?
Yes, use your regular stove. It's just very hard for me to put my camera over to where the stove is.
Right.
So I usually use the induction.
I didn't even think about, I bought an induction burner, a brand new one for retreat this time. I have an old one, but I bought a new one because I needed to make sure that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about doing a demo on that, but we'll try that next time, guys, when we want to fry something. We'll go outside to the barbecue grill.
Just use a brush here. And I'm going to put a little water on it and take my, you don't want too much water, but you see how this got a little burnt?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't really matter because you're going to put petal onto petal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to wet these down a little bit on the back.
So beautiful.
And then I'm just going to take it and I just press it in the center. And it's going to be a little soft. You see how it got a little soft?
Yeah. Yes. Pull back. Just there you go.
That's okay. You can rehydrate these if you don't like what you're doing, or you can bend them after you first take them off and fold them into whatever shape. So that's stuck now.
That is awesome.
And then I'm going to take another part of it, put a little more water on there. Not too much, because
I never say this flower name right, but is it anemone? Anemone?
Anemone.
Yes. This would make this would make those beautifully, wouldn't it?
Yes. Okay, so you see that flour? It's done. You fried it, put it down there, it's dried, it's not hot. It's just a very quick way. You can take dragées, you put a little bit of your, I use, because Nicholas, they have a great glue. There's all kinds of glues. I also use mostly for all of my things that I do. I keep this on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Little Honey's glue, but anything like that takes a little longer to dry. And I like to do things fast, and I like them to dry very quickly, and probably everybody else does on here, because that's money and time is money. So what I use is, for these, I just use water. And then if people will ask me, how do you get it onto your cake or your cookie? If I'd have remembered to bring the cookies in, I would have had a cookie. And then you have a 3D. So you've got your cookie that you've made, and your tree or whatever you're making out of cookie. And you just take these and just stick them on. You can use your royal icing, and you can use royal on a cake. You can use buttercream. And what I use a lot of is isomalt. Okay. To glue them. Then you see there's a larger one here, and this doesn't look like it's going to fit in there because it's all curled up on the edge and all that. So I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm just going to go around it and hydrate it somewhat so it bends a little bit. And if it cracks, it doesn't matter, because you will not ever see that it ever cracked. So we're just going to bring that in there and stick those together just like that.
Wow. Yeah, right. Pull back towards you just yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay. So the next thing, Amy, when you were gone, I was telling them that I'm going to put, I'm using canola oil.
Okay.
And I only use canola or vegetable for this. Which way am I going? There.
Oh, did you tell him why? Did you tell him why not to use olive oil?
Olive oil has a flavor in it and it smokes.
Yeah, it has a lower temperature and it'll start to smoke, right?
Yes. And it's not something that you use for frying. It's got a flavor in it. Now I'm going to tell you something about these sheets. I'm just moving these over. That when I bite into them, and I was biting into that like a chip, it has a flavor to it. It's kind of like a vanilla flavor. So it isn't like they don't have a flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It just means it has a balance.
Okay.
So
Jessie, and I think we lost our Instagram feed, but we're just going to keep going with the Facebook and YouTube, okay?
Okay. So we have this all cleaned off here. And this is one flower I made from the rice paper.
So pretty.
And what I did is I fried a piece and I cut it to be the disc for the bottom.
Okay.
I cut these in shapes. This was the shape that I cut them in. You can make them small, large. And then I put them in hot oil and I fried them. This is another one that I did. I had some isomalt stems that I had already made. So I wired these. I fried them first, and then I let them, they cool in like minutes. And then in the back part, I dipped a wire into isomalt, and it's just on there. Very quick, very fast. And then I took my lusters, and I just lustered the edging, and I sprayed it with pearl.
Oh, so pretty.
It can be a poinsettia. It can be anything that you want to turn it into. You can do it in red. You can do it in yellow. You can do it in green for leaves. And
that's beautiful.
This is one petal that I fried that I had the heat on. I want to save this for you because I use these. If the heat is too low, they don't fizz up.
And you don't get the air. But look at the curl on those leaves.
Yes. And what I use these so also is when I was using.
Sharita loves your flower, loves it.
Yeah, so I just put a little glue in the center and I dropped those A's in the middle of it. Then I paint the edges of them or else I airbrush it and paint it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Now these are stems that I make.
What is that, the stems?
It's an edible stem out of wafer.
Okay.
Okay, and they get hard as a rock.
Perfect. So when you're competing and you need something to be fully edible,
you just stick that with I use isomalt because you can't see it, and you get a piece. So what we're going to do now that you've seen that, and I've cut some of these shapes already, I'm going to cut another shape.
Nice.
So we have.
Now, we're moving on to rice paper, right?
We're going to move to rice paper. I announced that while you were out of the room.
Okay. That's what Janie's asking if we were done with the other technique. So I think that's where we're headed, Janie.
We're heading on, Jamie. So I'm going to take regular store-bought, just go to your local store. I just have to wipe my counter off a little bit. I can see that there's things on there. You want to have a very clean counter. And I use protective sill pads. Just at your local market.
Now, when I did my little demo and showed them the rice paper, I used a brand that someone else recommended because they had already tried a whole bunch of different brands. Do you find that there's any difference in the brands on how they cut when you're going to make special pieces? Like, I've just always used this one because it came recommended.
I have never, ever had a problem with different ones.
Okay.
I can't say anything.
So there you go, guys. I told you I'd ask her.
Right. What is local is the best. Okay. So, because you then I do keep them in a sealed package, though.
Me too. Me
If you
too.
don't, guess what happens to them?
Brittle, brittle, brittle.
Yeah, if you're really stuck and you don't have any of these, and you have instant rice, 5-minute rice, just don't everybody take this for gospel, but you just put it in your food processor, grind it all up, put some water in it, and I can't tell you the amounts because it's just an experiment that I do, and you have the same thing, rice paper. So I'm going to take this, turn it on, and I've got it on a 5.
Okay.
But the temperature on your stove, if you were doing it on your stove, you want roughly 320, 300. And right here, we have to move the camera up.
Okay.
Because this gets a little hot, everybody.
Right.
It's not any different than you using your oven to bake your cookies, or you take caution to it all. So before this gets all heated up, I'm going to put the oil in it. Now, I'm not measuring the oil. I just pour it because I know it. And there might be like maybe half an inch, maybe. And if you don't want to use that much, you don't have to, because it will, this is where you need to use the tongs. Don't put your fingers in there.
Especially not now. Now we're moving on to oil.
This is oil. The water one is kind of safe because they get all curled up and you can just pick them up and they're not hot. But if you want to wear gloves, there's cotton gloves and I can show them to you. And then you put the rubber safety glove over top of it. And this is called rice paper. Now, how do you test this? How do you know it's at that temperature? I have a lot of those that you can test. Because some people test it with little splats of water. But if you do that, you can be sure that it's going to hit you when it snaps. Yes. It's about.
Oh, I like that. I usually drop a nonpareil.
Well, this works. I have to have it for sugar too.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I can tell if Dave's got a temperature.
You'll have to link that for us, okay?
So that's about 350. Okay, now you got to be quick with this now. If it is, this is the testing one, which it's not as hot as I would like it. You see that drying up? Yep. It's crystallizing. Mm-hmm. So that one, you see it's all clear?
Yes.
That is something. Would you do me a favor, Dave, and grab me some paper towel?
What will that one do, Jessie Ann? Will it stay hard like sail, like when you make rice paper sails?
It'll harden. Just double it up. And what you need for this to drain the oil from it, you turn it upside down onto some paper towel.
Okay.
So I'm going to plus the heat at 5.5 because I want it a little hotter so you can see it. But this is very crystal and it looks almost like isomalt.
Okay, wonderful.
I can take that in my hand now, but it is very beautiful. When you
very pretty.
Yes, and what I do is I turn it over on the other side, on this side here, and if that's in the road, I just take a pair of scissors and snip that off, dip the wire in isomalt or your glue, stick it on there. And I use Tylose and water a lot, and it dries very quickly. So I'm just going to test this again, because I need to show you how it fizzes. I love doing this. Okay, boom.
Oh, look at that.
There.
Love it.
So the oil's hot enough. And then you have the curl of your pedal. Mm-hmm. Sideways. Have you done this before?
I have done this before and I enjoyed it. I did a demo a couple weeks ago where I took the end of some rice paper sails that I made that I did some beading on them to make a piece of coral reef. And I just fried the tips so that it looks like a wave.
Yes.
I did that. But I think that I wish I had still had some pecan oil, because pecan oil has the highest temp before it,
Yes.
flames or whatever. Because I was really testing temperatures to find an ideal temperature setting to get it even bubblier.
Okay, so just for a minute, I'm going to take this off the heat and set it over here on the pot. These are able to pick them up.
Wow.
It's too bright over there.
Yeah, just hold it. Oh, well, it's probably too hot, but it shows up great over the induction burner. Wow. For the contrast, that's just beautiful.
And it's very easy to wire them. And
I see a mermaid tail. That's what I see.
yes, all kinds of you.
Half of a mermaid tail right there, my friend.
But you don't have to cut it in sections. You can just
Mm-hmm.
cut it like the mermaid, a little larger than what you need, and just drop it.
Ah,
And it comes up.
Jessie Ann, have you ever fried royal icing?
Yes,
What does it do?
it foams up. If you drop royal icing into isomalt, okay, now everybody, you have to take this. That's dangerous, but it's how we get like, let's say I'm doing a wave, and I've got pulled isomalt, and then I've got my royal icing on this, and I've got hot isomalt over here, and I dip it in there, and
Oh,
it just foams and grows. You must be very, very careful doing that.
okay. That's not something you should try. Practice with this first.
What I do,
Wear safety glasses too, you guys. We don't want anyone to get hurt.
yeah, and I'm going to cut these in just kind of wiggly, just to give it some side texture. When you're frying, you really don't have to. Now, another question a lot of people ask me is, what do you do with the pieces that are left over from your rice paper?
Can you make the slurry with them like you did the wafer paper?
What I do is I just make a very abstract design in a color.
Okay.
And it can go onto your cookies or your collaboration pieces or whatever you want, or onto my showpiece. That makes it look like it's the sugar, but it isn't really the sugar. It's just an organic, I'll show it to you in a minute. Just an organic piece and shape that comes out, and you can use it as, you know how you need fillers on pieces that you
Yes.
make? They become fillers. That's what I use them for. And they can be in blue and yellow and green or whatever color you want. And the other thing I do with this, I might go get them. It's hanging out there. I think I showed you, Amy, all the waves that I made on my showpieces.
So beautiful. You've shown me a lot of those. They're gorgeous.
Okay, so what I want is six of these, but we don't need to go there. I'm going to show you some abstract things, and then we're probably at our time. Okay, so we're going to bring this back up. It's still pretty hot.
Okay.
And what I want to do is take one of these pieces here and just cut it kind of wonky, like it's a leftover piece. They're just scraps, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned earlier that you've done some technique we were doing. You said you'd done it before with cello sheets. Was it this?
Cello? I have done everything with cello. Just testing it because they gave me the cello sheet to test it. I don't fry them, no.
What about smart sheets?
Smart sheets, I don't fry them either.
But you do the dry heat?
Pardon?
Is that the one when you had the dry skillet and had the dry heat?
No, they don't do very well because they're like cardstock.
Okay.
But what I do with that is I used it for my, I made a formula for icing images to turn that into what you can use for lace.
Mm-hmm.
And also I use the leftover pieces of cello in a lot of my Tylose glue. And I also use melted down cello, which is cello sheets are kind of like when you take it off the acetate paper.
Mm-hmm.
I will come on one night again and demo that for you because
Okay.
they are great for windows in a showpiece. Now I'm just going to tear this and let it fry.
Wow.
See how it just takes a shape, and you can do it, airbrush it, and do them all in little pieces, and they actually turn out almost like the side of what you would find down in the Everglades. Now this is just
Wow.
an abnormal shape. But see how it pulls itself up?
Yes, it's so neat.
So you can take that.
And it's in there just a second. I mean, it's like 2-3 seconds and it's done.
And you save your oil, so it doesn't, because it doesn't. You just mark on it where your oil is, and you reuse it because you don't.
Looks like a sea creature.
It's a sea creature, whatever you want it to be. These are the ones I just cut, and they turn into a beautiful petal. We won't make a flower because you've seen me do it.
Okay.
There you go. See how nice that is? Look at that.
Yeah, and what's really cool about these is they seem to be expanding slightly, whereas the other technique, they were shrinking.
That's right. It aerates it and brings it up, puts air into. But
hey, Peggy Tucker's here. She says hello.
Hi.
She said she made some of your rice paper flowers and loved the technique.
Oh, good for you.
Kathy is asking if you can airbrush or use dust on them after you fry them.
Yes.
Okay. Is there an amount of time they have to wait?
I'm going to take this off the burner and shut it off so I can hear. You can't hear me very well, so I'm going to move this away, okay?
Okay.
And, please be careful. Don't pour that immediately into your container. Just wait until it cools, and then you can put it into a sealed container and refrigerate it and keep it in there, and just mark on it what you used it for, and you can reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. If you bring your oil,
what would have happened if I'd have thrown either of these products into that whiskey that I was reducing?
It would have tasted really good.
Would it have blown up though?
It wouldn't. It doesn't have water in it. It's just rice. That's all this is.
But like when it was on fire, would that have caught on fire?
It probably would have, yes.
Okay.
You mean you wanted to throw them in while it was lit?
Yes.
Oh. Well, you go out to your barbecue. It will burn.
I'll do it when Brian's home and he has when Joe Dude's here and he's got the fire extinguisher.
If you put them in your whiskey in your pan while it's hot, they will fry up like we just did.
Okay.
It's just like rice. That's all it is. It's just rice. And what you're doing with the oil is you're frying and putting air into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like you do your potato chips. But
I could see that.
And you can make these into images, like if you're doing, let's say you're doing a cookie demonstration or a collaboration, and you wanted to do it all around food.
Yes.
You can take these and use them for, like what you said, lettuce. You can use them for potato chips. You just lower the heat so that they don't foam up so much. The higher the heat, the more foam.
Okay.
And with wafer, it's the opposite. You want to have a medium heat and then drop it down and let it kind of dehydrate.
Well, so come back on camera with me.
I'm coming.
We're not demoing anything else tonight, right?
No, I was just going to spray one of this big flower if you want to see it sprayed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to take my 2 minutes. I'm going to point you right over here at the sink.
Okay.
You see that sink?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to use pink. Just a spray.
Okay.
I'm just going to
edible food spray, and you're just tipping the edges. Wow.
And that's it.
Well, that is beautiful. Oh, come over a little bit. Look at that. beautiful. And it doesn't seem to have affected the structure
No,
of the pieces at all.
no, it won't. It doesn't at all.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
so anything missing, I'll come back again. Then we have fun.
That's fantastic. I'm not sure if you guys can see me, though. I don't know what happened to my camera earlier.
I just unplugged this because we just don't want to lean over top of it. So it is one sheet. And the only wafer paper that I use is Icing Images.
Okay.
And they have cardstock that works really quite very well too. And I just go to the grocery store for the rice paper. I lost you. You are in the show. Hi.
Oh, I don't know what happened. We lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, here she is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Can't see me though, can you?
No, I can't see you.
I don't know what happened with the little camera, but my pro stream says it's working, but I do not see it.
You're not up, but I wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming this evening. It's I was very organized. It's just that we had a lot of things going on, and this is what we call hi. I can see everybody. There's Jamie, and there's Julie's Cookies Baskets. Hi.
We are still live.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Yes, and so I showed my piece in the torch team today that I did for the competition.
Oh, yes. Did everybody see that? Hold that up. Do you have that? That was gorgeous. Thank you guys for tuning in and being such a great audience tonight. This was so much fun. Unfortunately, I don't think my camera is going to start working again. So I'm just going to leave Jessie Ann on here. Look at that.
This is a couture hat on an old hat rack that I entered in the competition. The feathers are wafer, and the petals, the other leaf that I call the leaf, is done with a technique called leathering. The veil is made out of a smart sheet that I turned into making lace, and the flower is just a fantasy flower that I pulled. The pieces on the back of the couture hat are folded under, and that would be the security if I was able to model it for you. It would stay on my head. The rack is all made out of sugar, and it has the fleur-de-lis on it. And that is what I have for you tonight. And I want to thank everybody for coming. And if you do have any questions and you do have my number, you can call me and we can FaceTime and we can go through all the steps at a little more personal than tonight. This was personal and what we call a fun night. So if there's any questions, you can question me or Amy, because I'm sure she's out there on the barbecue trying out things that that's going to make things light up. So love you all, and thanks for tuning in. Amy had to go.